Hey guys, welcome back to Cool Conversations,
your favorite podcast on ice.
Today we have with us a super talented couple. They are content creators, they have a podcast, and recently just released a super viral song on TikTok. Welcome, Angel and Marcus.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Before we get too comfortable, we still have to do our icebreaker.
So I guess you're ready for a trick then. Is that?
Yeah.
Start off strong.
Absolutely.
Sounds very familiar.
Okay, the easiest trick I think there is a swizzle. You're gonna have your heels kiss and you're gonna push forward and your toes are going to kiss.
Okay.
Heels kiss.
All right.
I feel like I'm gonna pull something in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I stuck.
Yeah, that's where I stopped. Y'all didn't realize I was
Oh,
playing.
no, I gotta squeeze your inner thighs, baby.
Yeah, squeeze it.
Use the momentum.
Come on, thighs.
I'm about to throw myself forward.
There you go.
Hold on, can I go? But no.
Oh, okay, like, can I go backwards? There we go.
It's like a half, it's
So
like a
back.
swish.
On
Yes,
leg
there
day.
you go. Squeeze.
On leg day, add inner thighs.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Come on, babe. Come on, babe.
There we go.
squeezing.
Squeeze. You got it. You got it.
It's just I can't get the momentum.
You gotta add inner thigh to thing on leg.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to abduct.
You can always use your partner for help too. They can pull you.
Ooh, okay. I got you, baby.
Yeah.
You see that? I did a whole circle right there.
There we go. There we go.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Woo! Yeah.
All right.
Oh, maybe we should be this
Yeah,
way.
there we go. Yeah, that way. So
All
you can
right.
see you guys.
We walking.
I know.
All right, ready?
You want to pull you?
No, we're not.
Good. Okay. Well, now I feel like since you guys like to do partner
She
things,
said you learned to stand.
I feel like we got to do a turn in. So, yeah. So this is what we're gonna get a nice presentation from you,
Oh, nice.
and you're gonna turn your partner in, and you're gonna dip.
Okay.
Bonus points for slow. Nice and easy.
Okay. Let me.
Okay. So I'm gonna be Peter.
There's the look from the video.
I'm giving you the look now. We're doing this.
Okay.
Okay. So you got to give us the pretty presentation. There we go. There we go.
It's gotta be pretty, babe.
Yeah. Okay.
What- Oh, here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're gonna turn in. Yes, and
Warm embrace.
dip.
All right,
We are, listen, we missed our calling, babe. The tank sleeps on ice.
yeah. No. We will be on ice.
Laid up on it.
Okay, we're gonna give you guys. Let's give them one more trick.
Yeah.
I think a wall jump is a good one.
That
This
sounds
is one of
crazy,
my.
too.
So this one.
Easy, they moving around.
No.
I always start in a cheat position, but you can be freestyle with the feet, and you're gonna jump from forwards to backwards.
1 foot.
1 foot. So you start you start on your left, and then you're gonna hop backward and land on your right.
Okay.
Yes.
Woo! Yes, that's it.
That's exactly.
See, I just jumped into it, babe.
So forward.
Yes. And then you're
And
gonna
then
hop.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly that.
Is that what I did? I realized I just turned around like this. I don't know.
Yes.
So there's actually a little bit of a jump.
What foot am I jumping off of?
Jump
Your
off
left
your
The
lip.
front?
Yes. and
Oh,
then
so
you're
I
gonna
got to
land.
spin on that and jump?
Yes. Yes.
That's dangerous.
So you're gonna twist your body whichever way feels natural, and then you're gonna pull your arms in and.
What I'm noticing
I'm
is
watching
that
the
I
feet,
didn't do right.
'cause that's the
Your
problem.
foot needs to be facing the direction you're going to turn.
No.
Yeah.
Opposite. Yeah, there you go. And pull in.
Go like you're sweeping the table.
Yes. Woo!
None of this feels safe.
Okay, so should we have, you guys have 4 good moves there.
Okay.
And we're gonna play a song and you guys are gonna do your freestyle moment. So you can use whatever move you have in your
You've
mouth.
learned,
you can give us your best performance. This is
wait.
the Olympics. We're gonna see who's getting the gold medal. Here we go.
Okay, before you see me do the swivel. Okay, the spin.
Oh, hold on, I need to be back here.
No,
Go.
other hand.
Huh?
Other hand. Other hand. Other hand. Spin me in.
Oh, the finish it. There you go. I just want to skate.
Oh, yes, let me see your bow. There we go.
Is that what they do?
Yes. That was amazing.
I feel like a pro.
I'm so paranoid right now.
I think you guys
Just
found
at
your
that
next-
age, I'm like, I can't be falling out here.
You guys did amazing. Thank you so much for doing our icebreaker.
Thank you.
It's the most dangerous thing I've done in the past 3 years.
Oh, really?
It feels that way.
It's good to try something new.
It is. Yeah, so today I feel like we have so many questions for you, but I want to start with our favorite, which is, how did you guys meet?
The love story.
The love story. The
Meet
luckiest day of this man's life.
Is that what it was?
Yes, it was.
You don't remember it like that?
Oh, no. No, not at all.
So it starts off with an unfortunate tale of me being evicted. I got evicted from...
See how it started?
Me and my best friend got evicted from our apartment. We were living in like income-based housing. We were in a college. Actually, we had just graduated from college. And we moved in with her mom. She eventually moved out with her boyfriend, fiance. And I was like, this looks lame. I'm living with someone else's mom. Like, it's already bad when you live with your own mom. But when you're living with somebody else's mom, it's just like, get a life.
Yeah.
So because of the eviction, I could not rent something on my own. Somebody had to be the primary leaseholder.
Right.
So luckily, two women that I went to college with, one being an actual, like a friend of mine, and another woman who I kind of knew, who happened to be his older sister. They were looking for a third roommate. The room was smaller. They had a third roommate, but she felt like the room was too small, so she wanted to get her own place. I was like, it could be a closet. I need a place to stay. So they were like, sure, you could, because they already kind of knew me and they knew I wasn't crazy or anything like that. So I was able
That's
to.
always good to know.
Yes, always good to know. You always
Great
are like,
selling point.
yeah, are you crazy? No, I'm not. So in the process of moving in, his big sister never told me she had I didn't know she had siblings. So one day when I'm moving in, I had on my very thick glasses because I didn't really care to put in my contacts. I'm moving stuff. And there's a knock at the door. I go and unlock the door. He's standing there.
Yeah.
And,
The knight in shining armor, the hero.
and I go, hello. And he says, what's up? And then walks in.
Oh, so you're like, who is this?
Right. I was like, wait, who are you?
Yeah, because like I knew my sister and her friend. They lived there, and that would be my pit stop. I would just, because they lived on the other side of town. So anytime I was in that area, I just pop up, cook something, eat. That was like just my own little getaway or
So
whatever.
you were right at home.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely, yes, I was definitely
You
at
just
home.
walked into her life. Just
Like
Yeah.
normal, I'm like, all right, they got one of their friends opening the door. That's not safe, but whatever. Chick with these thick glasses, move out of my way. I'm trying to get in here. And she's got an attitude. Like, who are you? You know? So,
Yeah, because I was just like, who's this random man? Yes, he is fine, but yet and still, what are you doing here?
yeah, so I go to walk in, and she's like, got it, like I said, got an attitude. I'm just like, I'm Sonia's brother
Yeah.
or whatever. She was like, oh, you know, so.
Yeah, I needed
like-
some information.
I like went on and walked in. I'm like, who's this asshole you got? He was like, that's our roommate Angel. I was like, ah.
So what happened? happened from there? Were you guys just like, was there like a connection at all at that point, or no? Because
Sounds like butting heads.
No, well, at the time she had a boyfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was extremely single, but I was still flirting. I was still flirting with her.
There. Look, he saw the cuteness through those thick glasses.
Yeah.
He could tell. She take those
She went
off.
and took them off.
I did
you
that
did?
day. I said, "Oh, I could not be around this man with these
Glasses are
glasses
fogging
on."
up.
Right. So we definitely, you could tell we had chemistry, even though it wasn't anything I could act on.
We would definitely flirt.
Yeah, there was
yeah.
definitely like flirtatious energy, but mostly our flirting was insulting each other.
Okay. Oh,
So-
it was that
Which
kind
is
of.
the main type of flirting.
Yeah. He'd be like, "Show me how you do this one thing on the phone." And I'm like, "You stupid. You posted because we had the same phone." I'm like, "How you not know this? Do this, da 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 da." Him obviously knowing how to do the thing. He's just asking me to be able to be in communication with me. So I actually moved away to California after that summer. So I was only
I
roommates.
can't escape this one. So I had a picture of me up on the fireplace.
He placed it up on the fireplace.
Personally, because that's just I'm a jerk, and it always stayed up there. Nobody ever paid attention to it. And one day, I think she had these figurines.
I had little angels. I used to collect, obviously, because of my name.
in front of my picture.
Place them in front of your picture, blocking it.
So I moved them, and I don't remember what you said.
No, what he did was he took his picture and put it in front of one of my angels, like had it like leaning up there, because the picture wasn't in a frame. It was just a random picture. And I was like, "Do not put your picture on my angel."
I was like, she likes it.
So you guys definitely were vibing with each other.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how long did this go on?
Well, I had moved away. I broke up with my then boyfriend, or we had broke up.
Where
This
were
flirting
you
went
guys?
went
In
on front
Kentucky.
of him.
Oh,
No, it didn't. I had moved away to California. This is in 2003. And when I had come home for a visit in 2004, we ended up running into each other. Well, we didn't run into each other. Let me correct it. I was at breakfast with my family at this restaurant called Cracker Barrel.
oh, we love Cracker Barrel.
Who doesn't?
I know, it's so
Who
good.
doesn't? And his family, meaning his mom, his sister, who was my roommate, the mother to his niece and nephew, they all were there too. So I speak, and his sister has said, "Oh, Angel, my brother had asked for your phone number."
Oh.
And I said, "Why didn't you give it to him?" And she was like, "Oh, he's probably," I told him you were here. He's going to come here. And I was like, "Oh, okay." I had on my thick glasses again.
Oh, those glasses.
Yes.
I feel like they're just a part of your story.
No, I got that LASIK and said, "Get this out of here." But
Did you keep the glasses?
yeah, I still got them.
Sentimental
thick.
value. You know?
It's just like my wedding ring. I
Painful
went.
memories.
I put in my contacts before he got there, and he eventually. Oh, well, tell him
Well,
how you
we
found
ran
out.
into each other a few times before.
Yeah, before then.
Like it was I don't know.
It was in a
summer
campus
before,
event. Yeah, we had
event.
seen each other.
Another time at a club.
We would see each other all
Yeah,
the time,
just
but
in and
I
out.
had a boyfriend all of those times, so there was still nothing to like act on. But his sister had called him.
Yeah, my sister called me, and we had like literally just had a party. Like it was me. We had a bachelor party. Me, two of my friends had this house, and my sister calls me. I'm like in the bed, like dead asleep. She was like, "Hey, you remember my roommate Angel?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "She's up here at Cracker Barrel right now," and she said she seemed excited. I told you asked for a number. I was like, "Is she still up there?" She's like, "Yeah." All right, I'm on my way. I like jumped out of the bed, threw on clothes, grabbed some toothpaste and threw it in my mouth and like ran out.
Oh, cute.
Said to the stoplight, spit the toothpaste out.
So I had to pretend like, so I knew he was coming, and I knew he had entered. I think I maybe saw him in the parking lot, and I knew he was coming, and I was telling my family, I was like, he's coming up. Don't look.
Don't make a scene.
Yeah, don't make a scene. Of course, they all dang near already cheesing in
Literally,
this
the
man's,
entire table is staring at me, smiling.
and he taps me on my shoulder, and I was like, "Oh, what's up?"
I remember literally, Daisy and Melissa was like, as I walked in, just smiling. So
Those are my
big.
sisters. And so he ended up asking me out that day, and I was actually supposed to be leaving to come back to start back at school because I was out here for grad school. But I actually had time before grad school started back. So after our first date went really well, I extended my trip so that I could actually spend more time getting to know him. So that was the beginning of our love story.
Wow. And so now you guys have been together for how long?
How many beautiful years?
Oh my goodness.
Married 16.
Yeah, and then if we met in 20, or if we started dating in 2024, it's 19 years. It'll be 20 years next year of like us dating.
That's amazing.
I know, it's crazy to think that much time has passed.
And you guys are you both from Kentucky? Is that?
He was born and
I'm
raised
born
there.
and raised, yeah.
And I was raised there. I wasn't born there. We popped around a lot, but Kentucky is where I consider home. When I say we're going back home, it's Kentucky.
Oh, nice. That's really nice. I feel like for visiting home too, you guys have like family and friends.
Absolutely. It makes it so much easier. Thank
All
you.
the kids, they spent the summer there. So.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So how did you guys get into content creation? I know you do so many other things outside of content creation, but like how did you get from doing those other things? Were you doing content creation first? Were you acting first? What came first?
Who spearheaded it? Whose idea was it?
So when I came out here for grad school, I was in grad school for acting. So I have been acting since I was in middle school pretty much. So I knew this was the career path I wanted to be on. And then about 14 years ago, I took a pregnancy test and found out I was pregnant with my first child, who was actually, he turns 14 tomorrow as far as in the day that we're shooting this. So when I was pregnant with him, at that time in the industry, as far as in television and film, I knew the chances of me working as a pregnant actress were slim because you're kind of seen as a liability. But I am such a creative person and have always been a creative person. I knew that I needed some form of creative outlet. So two things that I kind of picked up during that time of being pregnant with him, as well as right after I gave birth. Well, actually being when I was pregnant with him, I began to film content around my pregnancy.
Okay.
So this is before there was a such thing as a content creator as a occupation. Like there are very few people that I know of that were making money at that time in content creation. YouTube was still fairly new. I think YouTube came out in 2007, so this is 2009.
Okay, so it's like super.
Yes, super duper early. And I was just doing it as an outlet and also to give what I felt like to be a very authentic view of what it was like to be pregnant.
Okay.
Because we were pregnant out here without our family. Yeah. We were very young. Had only been married for like a year and a half.
Most people rely on like aunts and uncles and grandparents, and it's like, no, it's just us.
It's just us trying to figure this out. So I didn't know that this would ever be a career. I did it for a very long time, not knowing it just, and I kept saying, I don't know why I'm doing this. That's what, but I said, but I feel led to do this.
Okay.
As I began to meet people who actually did like family vlogs, I started to understand a lane that would be easier for me to do because a lot of the content I was doing, it was just so hard to edit. I'm like trying to raise this child without a lot of like extra help. He would be at work. I'm tired. I'm like, it's too much to do all this editing. So when I saw family vlogs, I was like, now that looks a lot easier. And it looks like I can still accomplish what I want to accomplish, which is showing an authentic view of parenthood. And as people got to like watching our content, they would start to ask about him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I would be very shy, camera shy. Like, keep me behind the camera. I don't want anything to do with it. If so, very little. Mm-hmm. But anytime she did have me on, it was just like people were being intrigued because they see a unit versus just Angel.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's a whole nother, third to this situation that we're not seeing.
Mm-hmm. Once you start sharing your life, I feel like people want to know everything.
They do.
Like, can I just know every single detail about you?
Every single piece. And it was so weird. I was just like, what? Why do y'all want to know this? And I remember my friends at the time, they had a channel, one of the biggest vlogging channels called the Shaytards. Because they were the ones that kind of really opened me up to vlogging. And I was like, so why do you think so many people want to see this? And she was like, for a lot of people, they're getting a chance to see like a functional family. And for some people that doesn't exist for them. And then also, even if it does exist, it is still beautiful to see a functioning family, to see a functioning relationship, to see love. There's so much toxic content out. It's always nice to have that, like, it's almost like we're a Brita filter. Like, you
Yeah.
you
this
can.
is still here. It's still normal.
You guys are just, giving an example to people who are feeling like, like you said, some people don't have that kind of example at home, but they're aspiring for that for themselves. So just to see it in real time, it exists, it's there. I can see how that would be very inspirational to someone.
Yeah, and we've never been like, we are marriage experts. We are literally just being like, this is what we doing.
That's what works for us.
Yes, exactly. So after like a lot of pleading, he was very, very, very reluctant. The first thing I think I was able to get him to like say yes to was the idea of a podcast.
Okay.
And he was seeing in the comments the requests for us to do a podcast. And this was back in they started making the requests in like 2014. We didn't pull it off until 2016. So,
why were you so reluctant? What was your hesitation?
Like it took me the longest to even, I think I was probably the last person to get a Facebook account.
Oh, wow.
Because
it took a
the
long,
only reason
long
I
time.
got it is because I had a phone that got stolen and I knew everybody was on Facebook. So I made an account, got on there and said, hey, shoot me a text. I still have the same number, but my phone got lost. And everybody was like, oh my God, you have social media? You have social Did not have it at all. So that was just another form of social media that I had that didn't have anything to do with my career. Like I was already in my career. Anybody I want to talk to, I'll call them. I don't need to get on.
And he's also private.
I'm a very private person. Yeah, very private. So me sharing anything to a bunch of people that I don't know just did not interest me.
Fair.
Yeah, like for the longest. And then, so when I see these people that are very supportive of Angel, and I would, see their comments and the stuff, and people kept saying, we can do a podcast. And my biggest struggle was like, well, do I act this thing? Do I come?
Right.
That was her advice to me to keep my privacy. Some people have an online personality.
That's not their actual personality.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could just do that and still just be me. And then I was like, I'm not good at that. I can only be me.
He's like, nope, can't do it.
I tried it. I was like, yeah, that's way too difficult. I can just be me, and just like in real life, you take it or leave it. This is me, but people seem to like it. Because they see that it's relatable. Most of the comments was like, oh my God, he's just like my husband. Oh, he's just like my brother.
Makes it
oh
real.
My God, he's just like, so I'm like, okay, so I can just be me. This is a little more comfortable now. And we, started doing it, and it was a very rocky start of wanting to do it. Like, I still didn't want to do it. It was just like, let's just see where it goes. And I didn't have the drive to actually, like, see how big it could get.
Yeah, there was literally no monetary attachment to, like, we weren't making money doing our podcast. It was just me being like, oh, this is what my people who are watching my content really want. Why not do it? It's a way for you to have a little bit more control because we are talking about specific topics versus me just following you around with a camera. And it wasn't monetizable at first. And that is a good motivator for him is when there's money attached. And so when money wasn't attached, he was just like, for me, I kept saying, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to continue to do it. He would be like, I don't know why I'm doing this, so I don't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair, yeah.
And the other thing that helped me get into take the podcast a little more serious because I did start to get into the vlogs a little more, and I was like, I don't just want to get in front of the camera and like talk about what I'm doing because that's boring. But I would be doing projects around the house, and people seem to really like that. Like,
oh yeah,
I would just be like rewiring something or doing something in the backyard. I'm like, okay, I actually enjoy doing this. This is something I have to do. This is a little easier to talk about. So in a way, I was just kind of transferring that over to the podcast of like, there'll be topics that we talk about. It's like, okay, I could just explain my way of thinking, and that'll just be, my go at it.
Yeah.
In that process for you, did you ever feel like you had like a imposter syndrome? Like no one's gonna watch this, no one wants this.
I knew people would watch her. I just didn't understand why people would want to hear anything I have to say. Mm-hmm. Like, and I didn't even like going back watching our podcast.
He still don't like to go back.
Oh really? Wow.
I have 3 podcasts, and I don't watch any of them. Mainly, I hate my voice.
He'll be like, yeah.
I'm like, turn it down, turn it off. It's disgusting.
That's me too. It's my voice for sure. Yeah.
He would definitely judge like, why would anybody want to watch this? I was like, what we're trying to do is not make stuff for your entertainment.
Right.
I was like, we're making stuff for their entertainment. And if they are telling us they enjoy it, why are you?
I'm like, I didn't even blow anything up. Why is people watching?
Right.
You know, nothing exploded.
Yeah.
So at what point did you guys realize, like, okay, this could be a career, this could be a job for us, we can actually make money? And how long did it take from the time you started, like, okay, this is a job, we can make money, to like where you guys are now?
The turning point.
Forever and ever and ever. So I wasn't making a ton of money at all with the content that I was creating on my own channel. I was making money for the content that I was creating on other people's platform, right?
Okay.
Because they were basically hiring me as a contractor, and I would come over there and make content. And basically what my like YouTube channel and Instagram channel was basically for those people's fans that all of a sudden was like, I want to know what she's doing. It gave them a place to go.
Okay.
So it hadn't been like it was essential, but it wasn't helping in our budget per se. So, but it didn't really have to, because I still had acting, I still had hosting, and I had other people's platforms. They were paying me to do stuff, so I didn't necessarily need to make money off of mine yet. And so for him, in the way he thinks, I had to continue to show him proof of what was possible, because he was looking at the reality. He's like, you not making money off of what we are doing. You're making money going elsewhere. Okay. So as I began to meet other content creators, because as strange as this may seem, LA was not yet the hub for content creators to come to.
Oh, interesting.
People were still doing their content wherever. So like there would be a huge content creator, but they would live somewhere in the middle, Utah or someplace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not here. So he's not seeing them on a day-to-day basis. He's seeing my other actor friends who aren't making content. So I would take him to like different like creator festivals, and I would introduce him to like couples that I'm like, what do you do for a living? And they're like, oh, we just vlog. And so I'm trying to get him to see these are people who are not like living out of their car. They live in their homes. Their kids have clothing and food. Like they are making money at this. And there was actually one specific couple. The husband had been laid off of his regular job. And I remember asking him, so what are you going to do? What is your next step? And he was like, well, luckily we make so much money from our content creation, I don't have to go back and look for another job. And I was like, so glad my husband was here to hear that.
See, you hear that? See.
And he was like, but do you see you ain't making no money?
I feel like husbands being like the realist in the relationship happens a lot. Like
It does.
Supportive but realist.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's exactly Peter.
Yeah.
We call,
I've heard this before.
we call it the kite and the string.
Yes.
Oh yes, okay.
So I'm floating up there, and he's like, girl,
Come back down.
yes, we are on the earth. What is you doing? So while a lot of terrible things happened during the pandemic, one of the biggest things that happened was that people turned to content because, programs weren't being shot out here. A lot of our productions were shut down. Like I was in the middle of shooting a movie and we had to shut down because of the pandemic. And we didn't get to like go back into production until there were a lot of like COVID protocols and testing available widely. Okay. So a lot of people took to Instagram, YouTube, podcasts to get their daily feel because we were all stuck in the house. So our numbers started to like really crank up during that time. And then I partnered with, the reason why we're even in this space, with my good friend Kev on stage, who is also one of the pioneers when it comes to content creation. He was creating content back when I was creating content, except for he knew how to be consistent. And I was like, I'm a mother and I'm an actress. I have all these other things that I'm doing. So my stuff would be spotty. It wouldn't be as consistent. And during the pandemic is when everything turned into revenue. Like our podcast, we got approached by an advertisement company that was like, we want to be able to sell ads on your podcast. So our podcast became monetizable for the first time in 2020 when we started it back in 2016.
Wow.
So
that's when I was like, okay, we're doing this for real.
Yeah. I was able to like show him the numbers in different categories of like look at what this now looks like.
Yeah, the pandemic numbers are definitely because it took her years to get me to this point.
Yeah.
And the pandemic numbers is what like definitely catapulted. Like she literally made a spreadsheet. I think back in 2020, maybe, 2020 or 2019. And it was just like, okay, so this is what the household is bringing in total, and this is what this is doing, this is what that's doing.
Wow. So you
And
laid it all out.
I had to because he wouldn't listen.
Multiple times. and then finally there was one key time, I think she did this on purpose. She was like, okay, again, let's talk about this because there's a lot of opportunities we're missing out on. And we're going over the numbers again. She was like, this is it. I said, okay, remove my salary from this and let's see where we're at. She's like, I didn't include it.
Wow.
And I was like, so I'm losing money going to work.
Yeah. Because I still had to manage. By this time, by the pandemic, we had 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
So, and he would be gone from the house about 12 hours.
At least.
Sometimes
I did a 12-hour shift. So
yeah, so
All
commute,
day. Yeah.
a whole day of work, and then commute back. He would be missing most of the day. So even when we could create content, the hours were
so small.
very slim.
Not even just the hours slim of creating content. Hours for me were slim being around my family, seeing my kids. I'm up and out of the house and everybody's still asleep. I get home, I see them for 30 minutes, everybody's going to bed.
And I'm sure.
So that seeing the numbers and then having that realization, I'm just like, okay, something needs to happen.
And then even his energy that he even had to give to content
Very little.
was going to I'm like, if you weren't going there, it'd be easier for us to do these things because you wouldn't be like, oh God. And I have to be empathetic to that because I do understand.
Yeah.
You have been at work. Not that I didn't also work outside, but I was doing a job that I would say fed my energy a little bit more, where his would deplete his more.
Yeah. So you guys were balancing that. But it's so awesome to hear that, like, you stuck with it for all these years, and then
the consistency, the patience.
Yes, and then like all of your fruits of your labor basically came, and you're like, okay, this is the moment. This is it. We're doing this.
Yes.
So then you guys, once that happened, you guys decided to pursue which avenue? Podcasting, like just video content. Like, what was your like main platform? You would say.
Oh, I think actually it would be our Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Which is connected to our podcast, but connected to other stuff as well.
Else. Yeah, that was one of the things we knew about Patreon. We wanted to get it, but we had to prove to ourselves, like, if somebody is giving me money, I need to make sure I'm giving them their money's worth.
Value.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So we said we would make sure we got to be consistent, have consistent content for at least a year before we start this Patreon. And we ended up doing that. So that's how we started it. And that's what really, and Patreon was that extra number that got thrown in there that helped me step away, because once Patreon was added, it was just like, well, this could replace that as long as we're consistent. And we can be consistent if you're not spending 20 hours at work.
Yes.
And then, creating content in this, and you can actually do something that you enjoy doing. Not that I hated work, but something that you really enjoy doing, and you're just doing something you love and doing it for people that want to support you.
Yeah.
And being at home with your family more, which I'm sure was a big selling point. So
Absolutely.
One margarita. I feel like that we have to talk about that.
We have to. We
You're
have
still
to.
on that high.
Oh yeah, it is not coming down no time
It should
soon.
never. Okay, so I looked into how this all came about, but can you just give like a little explanation for anybody who doesn't know?
Yes, I'm a pro at this now. I feel like I've told this story about 100 times. So I do another podcast. Well, I do several, but there's a podcast that I do, probably the most popular podcast that I do with my friend Kev on stage, and it's called Here's the Thing, where we are a pop culture podcast where we cover trending topics, topics that are in the headlines. And one of the things that was trending was this video of this evangelist, this woman who goes around campuses preaching mostly about abstinence. Like, she has this thing called Ho No Mo. Right. and she's very serious about it. And I think, some people that she ministers to take her seriously, but I feel like there is a large number of people who find her comical in ways that she probably doesn't find herself.
Okay.
And the approach.
And the approach. And then she uses shock factor as a part of her approach. So there was a video of her equating a woman's promiscuity in her, I guess her inability maybe to make wise decisions if you give her margarita. So she was comparing the two. And I'm listening to it before we start the podcast because we have a docket that I study before we start. And I was like, Like the audience is like, they're like, yeah, every time she So most of the people were seeing it more as a funnier thing to watch. And I was like, this sounds like a rap song to me. Like she's going at this the wrong way. So when we do the podcast, our podcast has a lot of music in it because we both love music. We both grew up in the church. So we have similar like vibes. So he usually trusts me when I am going in a direction. I was like, Kev, give me a beat. I was like, it sounds like a rap song. So he gave me a beat and I started to do this freestyle. Now, I freestyle all the time. My husband knows this.
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I don't land the plane, okay? Usually, I take off. I crash real quickly.
Usually goes into orbit.
Sometimes that goes into orbit and the telescope is lost for forever, or the plane is. This time, I landed the plane safely. And I was like, oh, that was fire. And I knew that clip was going to be a clip that people would like play on, like they would probably pull it out of the episode and like upload it. So I said, I'm going to jump on that. And I removed the clip or like screen recorded it and put it up on my social media platforms. And we live in a day and age where producers will put music behind like fun clips, right?
Yeah.
Or in like remix it. So I knew somebody was going to do that. And lo and behold, I think the next day, it already had a beat underneath it, and it was fire. The people, they like mixed it up and stuff. I was like, this is good. So I reposted it, and I thought that would be the end. Well, those two producers DM'd me, and they were like, hey, Angel, we're glad you love the mix we did. What do you think about making this into a full song before somebody else like does a bootleg version?
Okay.
And I was like, who are these people? I was like, somebody trying to take advantage of me. Somebody, I'm already like, what is this? So I prayed about it. And I wrote a verse before I even. What you love about
this whole song? Yeah, that part. Well, I had to pray about.
I surely did. I was like,
With the
Jesus,
Lord,
I can write more about putting it in the bus, but I need your guidance first. And so I was like, let me write. I'm trying to get into the place of what my mother would call digging the ditch. So meaning, if you're waiting for the rainfall, that's like your blessing. Dig the ditch to prepare for the rain that you're collecting, right? So I was like, me writing a verse is me digging the ditch and saying, if this is supposed to be a song and if this is supposed to be something bigger than what I saw it as, let me prepare for that. So I wrote the verse. I ended up I waited a day before I contacted those guys back. We met via Zoom. I'm really big on energy, and their energy was really polite, really respectful, because also my husband is not going to tolerate me dealing with people that it's going to be a huge problem for everybody involved. So I was like, oh, they're really respectful. Like, okay, this is, I can introduce them to my husband and it's going to be copacetic. We make the song in 4 days.
Wow.
I literally recorded it in our bedroom, and sent them the audio recording, and they put it together, and the sound, the little bit that they had put online or put on TikTok was already going viral so fast. Mm-hmm. And then when we put out the full song, the numbers of streams just kept going up like crazy. And I was like, other people were saying it online, but I really started to believe. I was like, this is the song of the summer. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. So that's kind of where it went. Record labels started reaching out left and right. I'm talking about, I was taking 4 meetings a day. It felt like a lot of foreign record labels. Me and the guys, we did it all together. We found its home. I signed as an artist with Giant Music and
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And what's so crazy is most people know me as an actress. They know I can sing. I've been doing musical theater all my life. Singing is probably the first form of art that I was ever able to do, because you don't need a dance studio, you don't need a camera, you don't have to have like a stage to be able to do it like you would for a play. So I've always enjoyed singing, but it's probably the one thing that I'm most insecure about, me inside of music. So I've always like pushed that one of my desires more to the back. He's the one that's subjected to it, my freestyles and my loud singing, more than anybody else. More than anybody else.
Well, now we all get to enjoy it.
Everybody gets to enjoy it. So it has been a crazy ride. It's been the most busy, longest summer I could ever have imagined. And it's not over. We have more remixes coming out, doing now live performances of it.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, well, what's next? Are we going to get like an album from you? Are we
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. I think you all will be getting an album from me. And I, as you were talking about, I have a lot of imposter syndrome around this. And, but I'm having all these type of mental battles of like, girl, shut up.
Right.
Girl, shut up. You the only one judging yourself negatively. Nobody else. The overwhelming amount of response that I have gotten from this have been positive. Even people who are more modest and are like, well, I can't sing it. But congratulations. You know, it's amazing. The song is actually dope. I just will not sing those words out loud ever. And I'm like, it's fine. Just stream it. You ain't got to sing it. So I am excited to push myself into this uncomfortable place that I know I actually do get a lot of joy from doing.
That's wonderful. I feel like it's so good to like, especially hearing your whole journey now. And now you have this viral song. And I feel like TikTok really has changed the game for a lot of people.
Yes.
Getting things out quickly.
Yeah.
So now, do you feel like this was kind of like, in a way, like a breakthrough moment of like everything that you've done too, that kind of just put you on another level?
Absolutely. There's a couple of things that I am grateful for. One, yes, TikTok makes it so that record labels don't really get to determine what people will like. People determine what people will like,
Yes.
which is a blessing. And then also me being at the age that I am. If I were in my 20s, I would be making terrible decisions around this because I would be saying yes to everything just because I want to be liked. I want to be accepted. Now at this age, being married for 16 years and being very firm in my marriage, me having 4 children that I want to be able to see me as an example, I am making decisions that align with my values, that align with my goals. And I feel like all of this, having all of us making content and me not understanding why, us landing at a place that we now get to work with each other 100% of the time, me just creating content and putting it out there and being willing to accept whatever I get back also makes it so that I can create music and be able to be like, it was just my job to create it. It's not my job to make you like it.
Right.
If you want to like it, great. If you don't, move on to the next person. And I don't think any of that would have been possible if it wasn't for all of the journey it took to get to this moment. And I am so glad we are getting to harvest all the seeds that we sowed, because we were sowing seeds for a long time. And I was like, is the land barren? But it's not. It's been a busy, but a really great season for our family.
That's so awesome. I feel like what's so great about that too is like for anybody that is listening or watching, they can,
or
maybe
just
they're
sitting here because I'm feeling inspired.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was gonna
thank
say,
you,
it's just such
Peter.
an inspiring story to like keep going with whatever you feel called to do. Just keep going.
Keep going.
Absolutely.
And you guys are the prime example of that. I want to talk a little bit about you guys' podcast.
How we got the name of it years ago before we even had a podcast. Right. I don't know what
I did a, you know how
ask or something.
Ask your husband, like it was like a bunch of questions, and you just sit in front of a camera and ask him these questions.
And I had no idea what it was. She was like, "Okay, come sit down in front of this camera. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions." I'm like, "Is this gonna cause an argument?" And then one of our supporters, like when we were trying to come up with a name from years ago, they said that, and I was like, I actually said that in that one thing.
That's cute. I love that. So your podcast is, you guys talk a lot about like marriage and things. What inspired you to start talking about marriage on like a podcast? Do you think reading feedback from you guys' other content or?
So I think one, we wanted to just talk about like just our marriage in general. But one of the driving forces for like the podcast and the way we operate our podcast and the name is just the normality of people disagreeing.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of, just in my personal opinion, I feel like a lot of fairy tale is put out on social media and in the world. So when people actually go through things in their marriage, it's like, well, this ain't normal. Like, no, it is normal. People disagree.
Yeah.
We will sit in front of this camera in the middle of a podcast and then we will argue. Our argument doesn't have to be yelling and fussing and fighting, and this is just a disagreement.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, and even our Patreon would be like, oh, this is uncomfortable. That's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be uncomfortable, and guess what? We're gonna move on from this.
Yeah.
So that's just that normality, and people see like a real relationship, a real marriage. We don't close the curtain and say, good job on that argument. It's like, no, that was real. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
It has been things where we've been like, all right, we're going to talk about this in the car.
Yeah. 100%.
But that was the main driving force. That and just people, like you said earlier, seeing a unit and just a couple, thriving. We talk about our family. We talk about our extended family. We talk about us. And it's just we didn't see anything quite like that of people just willing to disagree, talk about why we disagreed, and then explaining. I feel this way about it. You feel that way about it. That's how we ended up in that collision, and now we resolved it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I feel like that's so great. And that also goes back to we definitely have our moments and tips. And it's so funny too, because we see online people like, oh my God, you guys are, we have that fairy tale love story, but that's not the case. And we try our best to try to get people to understand that that's not what it is. Day in day, it's just not possible. I mean, maybe for some people, not us. So I love that you guys talk about that and people can hear you having these discussions or arguments that are perfectly normal and
not putting on this facade, you're being real
right.
with your viewers, your listeners.
It's so much easier for me to just do
it's just, it is
don't
like,
put on a face, don't act,
it's truly what he is capable of, and that is being himself. And this is not to put down people who do a more curated look at marriage, because I think if I could pull that off, if we could pull that off, we possibly would do it. But we have struggled trying to be able to anytime oh, this is the pretty picture, this is the pretty video. And at the end of the day, I always feel like the closer you can be to being your authentic self, the more longevity you'll have.
Yes.
And the more people will relate to you. I do think there's something about relatability and transparency that is helpful, while there is something about being aspirational and inspirational, which I think a lot of the more curated people, that's what they are trying to sell something that is beautiful. I don't have the stamina to try to sell that, is the reason why I don't.
I definitely feel like when it comes to relatability, I think people want to see real people. They want to see real people living their real lives and just showcasing more of reality. So I think that that's such a great way to look at sharing with your followers. And because we're at that moment, we have a little relationship component to this podcast at the end, because I feel like we have to give back to everybody that does watch. And so we read a little scenario.
Okay.
And we're going to have you guys give us your opinion, basically.
Okay.
When your spouse always chats with other girls for attention, what does that mean? Is there something missing in the relationship? And he chats with them behind my back. It's not normal chats. It's flirtatious and emotions are involved. How would you handle this situation?
Oh, we gonna have big problems. This is, to me, that's a form of cheating. I know a lot of people decide that cheating is only when there is physical, some sort of physical interaction. But flirtatious, now, why, mind you, this is how we started. It was us flirting.
You weren't married though.
Yeah,
I wasn't married, and then also my boyfriend was doing the same thing, which opened up the door for me. I was like, "Oh, you flirting with other people?
Yeah.
Oh, is this? I was like, "Oh, is this our new rule?"
See, if I had known that back
Perfect.
then,
Oh yeah, I was like, "Oh, perfect. This is our new rules. This is great. I can do that now." In this marriage, however, that is not even anywhere near acceptable at all. I would be livid. I don't know if that speaks to the relationship or more so of the person actually doing the act. I'm not saying that someone who cheats, they have there's nothing to do with the other person. There could be a disconnect instead of being emotionally mature enough to be able to articulate that, to be able to work on that disconnect, they're deciding to find it with other people. Or it could be that the person is just a jerk and they're just I do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah, no, that's if it was reversed, it'd definitely be a problem. But it feels I see things like that. It's like you said, emotional intelligence type thing. They're not seeing it because it's showing a lack of respect.
Yeah.
Like first and
definitely.
foremost, this is like to flirt with anybody to the point to where your significant other notices it. That needs to be a conversation. Like, where is that disconnect? Like here, it's only gonna happen once.
And then that's the end of here.
What was all that? You know, what was all that? No, absolutely not. You know,
Yeah.
you know, we have to discuss why did you feel comfortable doing that? Like, what is going through your mind? What was that discussion about? Why? You know, it would be a bunch of questions and understanding of what is going on to where that would be a thing. I don't know. Like when I hear a question like that, or I see a statement like that, it's like, what's going on? Why isn't this being talked about?
Yeah, you got to get down to like what the root,
root
cause.
cause.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I done got hot about it. Is this gonna cause a divorce? Is what that would become. It's not even is this gonna cause an argument. There's just you know, trust is really hard to rebuild once you have broken it. And man, I would be like, and I'm the type that'll go down a wormhole real fast. I'll be like, oh, this is what I know about. There's probably now stuff that I don't know about.
Right. And
So-
there probably is.
Yeah, exactly,
There probably
exactly,
is.
exactly.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Peter?
I mean, for me, that's any form where you feel like you need to hide it from your significant other. That's cheating. That's it. There doesn't have to be any actionable thing.
Yeah.
happening, you know, like that's cheating. That's it.
I agree. Cheating. So, well, you heard it here first.
You heard it here.
Thank you guys so much for being on our podcast.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for having us.
This was really fun. It was
Yeah.
a great conversation. I feel like we got to know you guys a lot better. And congratulations on everything that you have going on. I feel like this year we're going to hear more and more about you and
Thank
your
you.
music career.
Best of
and-
luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.